90.9, this is The Bridge. It is a very exciting time right now for Live on The Bridge as we cross over to John Hart for the Secret Sisters live in studio right now on 90.9 The Bridge.
You know, the first thing we need to do is make sure that everybody knows that it is not Laura Secret and Lydia Secret, the Secret Sisters. It's actually Laura and Lydia Rogers. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
I wish it was here. Laura Secret and Lydia Secret.
That would be a lot cooler.
Yeah, it would make a lot more sense, you know?
Quick trip to the courthouse, and this can be done.
That's so true. That's so true.
You know, when I got married, we sat down, and they were filling out the wedding license, and they said, well, what would you like your last name to be? And we sort of looked at them and they said, well, yeah, you know, this is like a legal document, so you can make your last name anything.
Oh.
And my wife and I talked about it afterwards, and we were so glad that nobody had told us that was an option beforehand when we had time to plan.
It's too many options.
Your imagination runs wild.
Too many things you could do.
We could do things that you'd regret for the rest of your life.
That's so true.
Right?
That's so true.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on You Don't Own Me Anymore. It's just a brilliant record.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. We're proud of it.
So the cover picture, your 86-year-old grandmother who, you know, is not 86 in the picture.
No.
She's a young woman.
14.
Yeah.
You all have referred to her as a firecracker.
Yes.
So
Both of those.
Both of those terms are quite accurate. She's that's our paternal grandmother. She is still living in Alabama right now, and she's battling cancer. She's actually in the hospital right now with just all sorts of different stuff going on. So we're kind of, you know, away from home and thinking of her. And we didn't know when we put her on the cover of our record, she hadn't been diagnosed with cancer yet. So it's interesting that, you know, after we put her on our record and so many people who love our music have kind of been introduced to her via the album cover. Now we get to kind of talk about her and send good thoughts out into the universe for her. So
how did she react to that?
Well, she was I think she was kind
of
of surprised just because, you know, I mean, when you've lived 86 years, you've seen a lot of things, and I don't know that she ever imagined that she would see her face on the cover of a
I think she had forgotten about that particular picture because when we showed it to her, she said, now, who is that fine young thing? She said that. So
maybe she hadn't forgotten.
Quite a firecracker.
So. Knowing her.
Yeah, so your grandmother's on the cover, but it was really your dad and your grandfather that were sort of the musical inspirations, right?
Pretty much. I mean, we have a really musical family. Our dad is, like you said, he's in a bluegrass band, and we spent a lot of our childhood going to bluegrass festivals and things like that. And our maternal grandfather played a lot of bluegrass music as well and was in a gospel quartet. And so that's kind of what we were exposed to from a really young age.
Yeah. Now, I understand that it's really strong because I guess, Laura, you live in a house that was built by your grandparents.
Yeah, you really know our history. I'm so impressed with you.
And
yeah, that's true.
And when you actually bought it from somebody, I couldn't tell if this was a family member or whatever, but the house seems to carry some spirits with it.
Oh, yes. I've never experienced anything, you know, ghostly in the house, but the gal who bought it, it belonged to my grandparents, and then the gal who bought it from my grandparents told me when I bought it back from her and put it back in the family that she had heard some things coming from the well underneath the house. So that's really terrifying. And especially at this time of year, I don't like to think about that. So
hopefully they're good spirits.
Yeah, I hope that, you know, I know everyone who's ever lived in that house. So I hope that they know me and recognize that I'm a good caretaker.
Now, my understanding, though, was that what she heard was the faint sound of bluegrass.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, she was a family friend for a long time, and so she knows about our family heritage of being, you know, in a musical group of folks, and she just swears up and down that she heard music coming up from the floorboards that sounded like old country bluegrass music. So maybe it's our people, you know, still hanging around and scaring people
together.
Yeah, I like to think it's that.
So the thing that there's so many parts of your story that are so much fun, but you'd made music around the house and you'd sung with your dad, and it was what you did on the couch.
Yeah.
And, my understanding is, Lydia, you'd played out a little bit.
A little bit. I would perform at 4-H competitions, and that was a big deal for me.
Yeah.
And school talent shows and things like that, but not really much more than
And
that.
Laura, you avoided
Never.
performance like the plague.
Yeah. I hardly ever would even sing in front of my parents or my sister. I was terribly stage frightened. So, yeah. It's very strange that this is what I do now. Very strange.
And so you had heard about an open sort of cattle call audition that was happening in Nashville.
Right.
And you really did it more than anything else just to confront your fears.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know what got into me, because I'm usually not a big fear confronter. If you know me at all, I do not like to be scared. And so, yeah, I don't know what really made me. I know I wanted to, try to get to where I could play around a campfire with my friends. I didn't have any aspirations of playing real shows or writing records. I had no thought that could ever happen for me. I was living in Nashville at the time, and so I was especially aware of just how competitive and saturated that market is with, people who are aspiring to make a living at what they care about. And so I never thought that it was in the cards for me. And I took a day off work. I was a nanny at the time, and I took a day off work and I went to this hotel where they were having the open audition, and I sang a verse and a chorus of a Brandy Carlisle song. And then they called me back about an hour later and wanted me to sing some more. And then I told them, if you think that I'm good, you need to hear my sister, because she's like way better and way advanced compared to me. So she drove up from our hometown in Alabama, and she sang by herself. And of course, we knew that we could harmonize together, but we weren't a band, and we weren't trying to, make a go as a sibling duo. And as we were getting ready to leave, Dave Cobb, the infamous Nashville producer, he said, do you ever sing anything together? And we told him that we could if he wanted us to. And so we sang a few songs together, and that was what started the whole process. And we had a record deal within 2 months, and we made our first record within 3 or 4 months, and we hit the road and never looked back. So
in a way, that's, given how you felt walking in, that had to be a nightmare.
Oh, it was a nightmare.
crazy.
I think if somebody had told me ahead of time that it would turn into this, I probably would have been so scared I would have walked away, which is, it's really true. I remember sitting in the lobby of this hotel, and of course, we're in Nashville, Tennessee, and everybody's a musician, and there were all these people, kind of congregating in the lobby, and they all looked so polished and put together, and they had these really great outfits on, and I think I was wearing a dress from Target. I wasn't
Pretty
looking
sure I
good.
walked in with an Old Navy cardigan.
Yeah, I mean, I just looked at these people, and they all had like demo CDs in their hands, and they looked like bands. And here I am, just this like podunk college girl from a small town in Alabama, and I never dreamed. I remember thinking so many times, like, I need to just leave before they call me back, and I don't have to sing in front of anybody if I leave right now. And then all of a sudden, they were calling the first group back, and I was in, so I just had to do it.
They asked you about your MySpace page. They asked you who did your booking.
Yeah. They
We
wondered
didn't
what
have any of that.
Do you have a band name? Do you have any demos? Do you have any songs that you've written? Where do you play shows? I was like, in my bedroom by myself. And I don't even really like to do that because I don't think I'm any good.
So did you have any idea who Dave Cobb was?
We
No.
had never heard his name before.
Yeah.
At the time, he lived in L.A., and I think he was famous for producing a lot of Shooter Jennings records and Waylon Jennings' last records. But that was before the whole craziness of the Nashville scene. So,
Right.
yeah, we owe our whole career to him. He was the one judge on that panel who really, really was into it and believed in us, and he paid for us to fly to LA and do a couple of demos, and he pitched us to record labels and got us the deal. So, yeah.
And so is it like, okay, this is just enough, right? I mean, that's a lifetime right there.
Yeah.
But then right on the heels of that, here comes T-Bone Burnett.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then right on the heels of that, here comes Jack White.
It was a crazy couple of
Yeah.
years. Like,
It doesn't sound real when you
I
say
know.
it.
When I hear it told back, I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, how silly that two girls who are not really even like we'd never have thought that what we do is special or exotic, or we just never have, because it's commonplace to us. It's just what we do, and it's what we've done our entire lives. And so it's so dumb to me that these legendary people who have made such an imprint on music history would care anything about what we do.
So just to sort of set the career arc, Lydia, you were in college. Laura, you were a nanny. Your next job was opening for Levon Helm, Ray LaMontagne, Willie Nelson, the Punch Brothers, Paul Simon, Katie Lang, Amos Lee, and some upstart named Bob Dylan.
Right. Yeah. Up and comer.
Yeah.
We were trying to help him out.
Yeah, we wanted to give him a leg up in the industry,
This is a digression. I try to stop myself from doing this during interviews, but we just visited with Lynn Novick, who is the co-director of the Vietnam War, the Ken Burns Project.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And they went to get Bob Dylan's music, and when they got the yes back, Bob's management said that he wanted to be in it because he thought it would help his legacy. Like, wow. Bob Dylan, of all people,
That's
has
funny.
any issues at
Like,
all
yeah, like he needs
with
that.
his
That's
legacy.
hysterical to me that someone of that caliber even cares anymore. If I had that many accolades, I'd be done. I'd be like, I'm going away now.
I've done enough.
Yeah.
Well, I've really enjoyed talking to you. I don't want to stop, but you got some music in you. We'd love to get a song if we
share
could.
a little bit of heartbreak on this Friday afternoon. Good way to start the weekend off. So the first one that I feel so tacky, but we're gonna start off with a murder ballad, because why not? Yeah, it's really good mood enhancer, this murder ballad. All of the songs that we're going to play today are off of our third record that we just put out in June. And this song is actually a murder ballad that's a sequel to our first murder ballad. We wrote our first murder song on our second record in 2014. And so we decided that we wanted to flip the story over and tell the other perspective. So this is from a little bit of a different standpoint, but I always tell everybody before we sing this song to not get attached to any of the characters in this song, because no one survives.
Yeah, they all die.
So, spoiler alert, don't get hooked on anybody. This song's called Mississippi.
Saw the back of my daddy's hand, lost your mama to the promised land. In my time, I ain't never had a thing that's mine, till they handed me a baby fine, my little girl. There are only two things I know: I get ugly when the whiskey flows. Wanted you to know I love you so, and I would kill before I let you go. Taking off for Mississippi, wearing someone else's name, brought you in this world, and I can take you from it just the same. If you leave for Mississippi, I will beat you at your game. Brought you in this world, and I can take you from it just the same. My dear one, heard you whispering your plans to run off to marry some rich man's son. I bet he's never met a poor man's blood. In the darkness you could not see the drunken devil instructing me. 2 bullets and a crimson sea. Now I'm certain that you'll never be. Taking off for Mississippi, wearing someone else's name, brought you in this world, and I can take you from it just the same. and sin, when the righteousness of you sets in, and the blood in my veins begins to ramble on. Now I know we can stand and judge the execution man, but we all have to make a trembling stand before the sun. Maple tree, can your branches carry me before the war, before the wine, before I stole what wasn't mine? Can you bring my baby back to me?
That's great. That's great.
That's heavy, right?
Yeah, Mississippi.
Yeah.
That's from the new album. It is You Don't Own Me Anymore. And it is the Secret Sisters live in our studios this afternoon. We're going to be playing Knuckleheads tonight.
That's right.
They're
First
ready for the
time.
trains to go through.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I feel like
We've
that's
heard
a
about this.
symbolic thing. The
It'd be,
train.
that'd be a good song to have a haunting train
It's
whistle
true.
in the background.
It's true. Yeah, there's something so, mythical about trains. And so, yeah.
Yeah, there's something mythical about Knuckleheads too.
Well,
You'll catch the vibe.
So
It's-
we've heard.
Yeah, it's a great club. It's like, if you talk to people about the original Star Wars trilogy, I think a lot of people like the second movie the best because it has that highest level of drama.
Yeah.
And, it's sort of like by the time you get to the end of that second one, everybody's in trouble. And it's like, how are they ever going to get out of this? And then the third act is like the redeeming, rush and all that.
Right.
So I'm really sorry, but we have gotten to your second movie.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, but we're all going to love it by the end. And so
Yes,
I'm
yes.
just telling everybody, this has got a happy ending.
Yes. Yeah.
So you had all these amazing experiences, and then after you'd opened up for all these great people, the next logical thing, and it's like everybody does it, is you go out on the road and you're the headliner. And, things started to change a little bit.
Yeah.
And you all felt like you had a need to change management. And that led to lawyers getting
Oh,
involved.
yes.
That's right.
Now, there is, I'm sorry, I found humor in your suffering.
You have to.
It's okay.
Yeah, but
Sometimes all you can do is laugh,
can you talk about what happened to you you were opening up for Nickel Creek in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what happened before that show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the very last show that we had opening for Nickel Creek on that run, and it was in LA, like you said. And we had just finished sound check, and we were walking back to our van. And as we were, there was a person standing out there by our van with papers, pictures of us, things they wanted us to sign. He said, "I'm your biggest fan. Can I get a picture with you? I love your music." And we were like, "Sure." And so we started signing things and getting our picture made. And as we were about to walk back to the van, he said, "Oh, and you've just been served." And he handed us lawsuit papers. Oh, yeah.
That's
Pretty
a special
low.
kind of cold, isn't
That's
it?
right. It is.
Yeah, I did not let my southern niceness show to that stranger. I whipped out some southern meanness on him, which I should probably repent for, but
Yeah, probably should.
I'm not sorry.
So that was right in the middle of all the crazy darkness.
Yeah, that
So-
kind of started the downward spiral. I
Yeah.
mean, it had already gotten pretty intense up until that point, but that was kind of where it just all really dropped. We completely lost everybody on our team, and we, lost all of our inspiration. It was nasty.
So there's a period where, I think demoralized is maybe the right word.
Yep.
And so, Lydia, you found at least some solace in music, but Laura, you were just done.
I was done.
And there was some question between the two of you whether the Secret Sisters would be heard from again.
Right.
Yeah, we weren't sure ourselves. There was probably a period of 6 to 9 months, maybe 9 or 10 months,
Yeah, maybe
where
longer.
we were not writing. We didn't feel creative in the slightest, and we didn't have many gigs. It was just kind of a dark time for us, and Laura started taking other jobs to pay the bills, and that was a really low point.
So this is the part of the interview where it ticks back up. I just wanted to tell people so
No, you
they
have
don't
to.
tune away
Yeah,
in
it's
tears,
part of the
right?
story.
Yeah.
It is. It's you got to have like the cloud, to find the silver linings. So.
Absolutely.
That was good.
Yeah.
And so, dark times, your friends, come to your rescue, and your friends just happen to be people like John Paul White and Brandy Carlisle.
I don't know what we did to deserve that.
I'm so thankful we had those connections, because that's what we had to rely on in those dark times to get us out of it. Those are the people who really came through for us and would meet with us periodically to encourage us or give us advice, and we would not be here were it not for them. So
One of the pieces of advice you got was to do crowdsourcing,
yes,
pledge music on your album, and you all really did not want to do that.
no.
We were the most hesitant about that. Well, to explain it a little bit, the reason behind that, we had just gone through like the worst time in our career. We had gone from these amazing highs to like as low as you can go, really. And we really, I think part of the reason why we felt so uncreative, if that's a word, is that we, in a way, looking back, we felt that music had kind of betrayed us a little bit. It was our first love and something that's been a lifelong source of comfort for us. And all of a sudden, when we try to make a go of it, it's the thing that brings us down again, And so, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like music, it was a really painful time for us as far as trusting music to kind of bring us out of it again. And we really didn't start writing again until the dust had settled. So I don't know. I just feel like it was all pretty much inspired by the heaviness.
And as far as the crowdsourcing goes, there was just probably a lot of pride involved.
Oh, so
with
much
that,
pride.
just
Yeah.
because we had a major record label deal, and we were used to them throwing money at us, and all of a sudden we didn't have that anymore, and we had to ask for help. And quite honestly, we weren't afraid we would get the help that we needed and the money we needed.
48 hours in, over half the money was
Yeah.
raised. That had to be completely
Oh,
validating.
it was so awesome. Within 2 weeks, the record was paid for, and
It really was. That was writing the record was really therapeutic, but then also getting that kind of reaction out of people that we didn't even know, for somebody to give their money to something that they haven't even heard yet because they believe it's going to be worth the money that they're paying. That was what we needed. The music healed us internally, but that crowdfunding campaign actually became a healing mechanism itself, because it really it gave us confidence that we had completely lost in the process. And all of a sudden we realized there is an audience out there that wants to hear what we have to say and what we have to sing about. And so that was like, it's strange how you fight the things that are the best for you, and all of a sudden, once it was done, it was like, oh, now I have a little bit of a new sense of kind of belief in what we do. So
it allowed us to connect with our fans too.
Yeah.
We were,
Yeah.
able to offer different things to them, whether it was, handwritten lyrics or, a song we would sing for them. So we were able to really connect in a way that we'd never had before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, as artists do, you took that pain and you channeled it. It is no coincidence that your album is called You Don't Own Me Anymore.
Yeah.
Quite appropriate.
Lots of lessons learned.
All right,
in that
so
album.
we've gotten to the point where it's a happier interview. The triumphant third act is still to come, but we'd love to hear another song if we could.
Sure.
Yeah, we're going to play our big smash radio hit single. No.
Oh, just kidding.
Yeah, you're wrong. See, I'm right. I'm the right sister, and she's the wrong sister.
You're right for once.
I'm always right. So this song that we're going to play for you, I always make a joke about it being our big hit radio single, but it actually is on the radio, which is like the first time that that's ever happened in a big way for us. And so this is a song that most people have heard off of our new record. This is a song about a terrible train wreck of a human being that I had a run-in with in my 20s. I got my feelings hurt really bad. Lots of destruction in that relationship. And he inspired quite a lot of Secret Sisters songs, and this one is probably the penultimate because it's quite specific. And Yeah, I've been told that I think he lives in Nashville now. I heard he got married to a girl that we should all feel sorry for. And I've also been told, I don't live in Nashville anymore, but I've been told that his favorite radio station in Nashville plays this song a lot. And so I'm a really sick, vengeful person because that makes me joyful. So this is his song. I have a really good feeling he knows who I'm talking about. It's called He's Fine.
Davy White, where is he tonight? He's sleeping with her in a Tennessee town and he's fine. I think I lost my mind and my wasted time. I'm dreaming alone in a hotel bed that he's mine. I bought a gown to match his name and kept my virtue just the same, so I could offer to my love a bride he could be proud of. I was sure I held his heart until a Louisiana girl tore us apart. I watched him as he turned away into her arms where he stayed. Davy White, where is he tonight? He's sleeping with her in a Tennessee town and he's fine. I think I lost my mind and my wasted time. I'm dreaming alone in a hotel bed that he's mine. Once my tears had all run out, I learned how to live without pieces left behind in tow. I took to the hard road. Strangers know the songs I write. They come to hear me sing at night, but they don't know I've paid a cost, and they don't know what I lost. Davy White, where is he tonight? He's sleeping with her in a Tennessee town and he's fine. I think I lost my mind and my wasted time. I'm dreaming alone in a hotel bed that he's mine. Till all the miles erase my pain, till all the hurt is gone again, searching for the next mistake, who never ever could replace Davy White. Where is he tonight? He's sleeping with her in a Tennessee town and he's fine. I think I lost my mind and my wasted time. I'm dreaming alone in a hotel bed that he's mine. I'm dreaming alone in a hotel bed that he's mine. But he's sleeping with her in a Tennessee town and he's fine.
Sorry. That was my vengeful laugh.
Yeah, it was too much.
Yeah, sorry.
Too far.
I should have cut that out. Can we edit that?
You should just, go straight to the blah, ha, ha, ha,
I know,
ha.
right? The evil maniacal laughter.
Yeah. That was absolutely joyful.
Thank you.
The Secret Sisters in our studios, secretsistersband.com is the website, and they are live tonight over at Knuckleheads. So this is like the joyful part of the interview. The new album is really spectacular. I wanted to talk a little bit about the songwriting process. And my understanding is, Lydia, you do more of the music and Laura more of the lyrics?
That's usually how it goes. I'll usually come in with maybe one line of a song lyrically, and then I'll have a melody going. And then when Laura and I get together, she really puts together the meat of it. So it works well most of the time. We fight a lot, but you know.
So if there's a song where it's obvious that the Secret Sisters are angry at somebody, it's really Laura.
Yes, it's all directed at her.
So true. I feel like I just got psychoanalyzed. And now I'm thinking back about all the words that we've written over the past 3 records. And it's so true. There's a lot of anger in there. So it's a true glimpse into my personality.
Can I just say, though, that we talk about happy endings. You both in the last 3 years or so have gotten married.
Oh, yeah.
So,
That's a sugar daddy.
Laura, your husband in the military?
He is, yeah. He's deployed right now. He's gone until May of next year. So we're about 2.5 months in and doing okay. As long as the ghosts at my house don't start making appearances. Since I'm living alone again, I'm going to be okay. So,
Well,
yeah.
thank him. Tell him we're thanking him for his
Thank
service.
you. Yeah, I sure will.
And Lydia, your husband actually does video, and a lot of the things that are online about this record, things he shot.
Yes, that's right. They've done our last 4 music videos now. So it's really cool to get to work together on different projects now. So
We talked earlier about, that very first audition, you all sang Brandi Carlile's song, and you loved her forever.
Yeah.
You've waited out in the cold after shows, hoping
yeah.
for a chance to talk to her.
yes,
Yeah,
for sure.
it's true.
And so, I'm not really sure. It feels like it was a slowly developing thing, but you have opened for her in the past.
Yes.
And when you were going through this period where you were kind of wondering what you were doing, you opened for her and ended up playing one of the new songs that you'd written.
We did.
And that was kind of a turning point.
It was. Yeah, you're right. I guess those shows happened at the end of 2015. I think they were the New Year's Eve shows, if I'm remembering.
No, you're wrong.
It was in December.
You're
I
wrong
know.
again.
Anyway, it was the end of 2015 in Seattle, 2 nights. And we were playing a couple of the songs during sound check that we had been working on. And she just happened to be listening that night and was impressed by the songs. And then we went backstage and showed her a few more. And she said, we have to make this record together. And then I guess it was 2 months later, we were flying up to Seattle to make it. So.
And it wasn't just Brandi that was involved, though. She was the producer, but
Yeah.
the twins, too.
Yeah,
You
they
got the
all
package.
3 of them were very involved in producing the record. We couldn't have done it without all 3 of their inputs. So
They just work so well. They're like a machine that just works so well. Like all the parts fit so sensibly and so creatively. And
they're really fun to work with,
yeah, we
too.
had such a good time. It was just like being in a room with all your friends who are like incredibly talented, and somebody just so happens to press record, and it was just so magical. And normally we love being in the studio, but this time just felt so there was so much camaraderie and friendship and like just acting like idiots. And it was, I felt like we just really could let our true selves come out. The idiots that we are.
I've never known 3 more joyful people than
No,
those
they're
3. They are
incredible.
just happy all the time, and
Yeah.
we are not. We are glass.
Hence our
You can't
song.
even agree about the shows.
Right.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So they definitely kept the mood light the whole time.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that song that caught Brandy's ear was Tennessee River Runs Low.
That's right.
First song you wrote for the new record, channeling a little anger, maybe?
Yeah.
A
We were
lot of
actually
it.
looking at the Tennessee River when we wrote that, and that was right in the middle of the dark period. So, yeah, there's a lot of comparison. I don't know if that's the right word.
Symbolism. is
Symbolism.
definitely present.
So you got some good things to work with, but symbolism was really sort of the thing that you went to over and over because you didn't want to be too specific, just
Right.
because you want to make it accessible,
Yeah, absolutely. And two, I mean,
avoid lawsuits.
well, that's one thing that we are definitely still terrified of to this day. I think that, when we were really in the thick of it, we were very secretive about it. And I don't mean to make a pun, but we really kept that a secret because we weren't sure how much to tell. We were afraid that, fans don't want to hear about icky business stuff. They just want the music. And so for a long time, we were kind of on the fence about whether or not the background of how the record came to be would ever be told, what the direct inspiration was, because it was just so gross and businessy, and nobody likes to think about that. We don't even like to think about that sort of thing. But we knew in writing the songs that we had to kind of address the emotions and the things that we were frustrated by, but we couldn't write a song about I went through bankruptcy and I had a lawsuit, because not a lot of people want to hear about that, or maybe they can't even identify with that. And so we tried to, broaden it out to where it was still relatable for the average human that might listen to it, but in a way that it was also kind of, representative of some things. And the people who need to hear the messages in our record will know exactly what we're saying when we're saying it. And that's what we wanted. We wanted it to be a little bit coded and a little bit cryptic, but still something that, anybody who's going through anything negative could listen to and find, a little bit of humanity in it. So
these songs were cathartic, but a little scary to perform?
Yeah, very scary, because some of them were pretty, to the average listener who doesn't know all of the little gory details, you don't really pick up on the little, stabs that we kind of put in there. But if you're the person that we're talking about, so that was risky and terrifying. But also, we felt 100% vindicated, and we felt like it was our right to talk about things because we hadn't done anything wrong. We were just trying to move our music forward, and
we couldn't not talk about these things because it was just part of our story. It happened, and so we couldn't not acknowledge it.
When I think back about the very worst things, or at least the things I thought were the worst things that ever happened to me, the ones that really hit me hard in that moment, a lot of times I look back and, boy, those were the best things that ever could have happened to me. And look at you all now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We feel that way now. When you're in it, you can't see the light, and you're kind of, you think you're going to get sucked in completely. But, now I wouldn't change it. It was awful, and I don't ever want to go through that sort of thing again. But it made us better people. It made us more thankful people. It made us more, grateful for the fact that there are people who will come sit in a studio on a Friday afternoon and listen to us tell stories about ourselves. Like, that's so narcissistic, but it just makes you more grateful, because it's hard to get an audience these days, and it's hard to put out a record. And we learned how difficult it is when things aren't just being handed to you. It's hard. And so, I don't know. I just feel like our perspective has shifted so entirely. And more than anything, I'm really proud of our kind of perception of ourself shifting, because for a really long time, we were so green and new to everything that we were experiencing. And we just assumed that everyone around us knew what was best for us and that we were always wrong. And, finally, after going through all of this and coming out on the other side, we started to realize that, when your gut tells you something, you need to listen to it, and you need to abide by that and be true to it, and it won't steer you wrong. And so, yeah, we've got more than anything, a new kind of identity about who we want to be and our power, that directs us in the right way. So. And
this time you have to feel like you've earned it.
Yeah.
I still don't feel like I've earned it. I will say, I really don't. I mean, I just think how crazy it is. Most people who dream of having a career in music don't get a first chance. And I feel like this is our second chance, and I just think, how do you do that? Like what did we do to deserve two chances to, enter this musical world and have our heroes, work alongside us? I don't know that anybody deserves that, but for whatever reason, the universe gave it to us, and I think the best you can do with it is just try to appreciate it and pay it forward. So
I think the people listening today feel like you've earned it.
Well,
I think you ought to give yourself a little bit.
That's very kind of you.
Come on.
Well,
and you also have freedom, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
so much more freedom.
You are back on a label, but they've sort of let you have your way.
They've let us take the reins, and we lost our whole team with the second record, and so we were able to put it back together ourselves and hire who we wanted. We have a female manager, which is really nice. It's just nice to work with women who understand you a little bit more. So it's just been nice to take the reins and do what we want to do.
Well, this is like the phoenix rising from the ashes, and if you want to see the triumphant third act conclude tonight, it's going to be at Knuckleheads.
Right. Yes.
And the new album will be at the merch table. It's You Don't Own Me Anymore. Brandy Carlisle produced. It's the third record from the Secret Sisters. You can find out more at secretsistersband.com. We'd love to have one more song if we could.
Sure. We're going to do a very creepy gospel hymn that we didn't write because I think this originated in like the 1600s and we weren't around back then. Really? So, no, shocking. I know we probably look like we were because we've been in a van. We crawled up out of our minivan after a 6-hour drive listening to Harry Potter. That's true story.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, rock and roll is alive and well with the Secret Sisters. But this song is, we grew up in a church that didn't use any musical instruments. And so every Sunday and Wednesday, we were in a church service where it was just 4-part a cappella harmony, congregational singing. And so much of the way that we harmonize with each other is because of that kind of unintentional singing education that we got in church. And this song has been in our old musty church songbook for as long as we can remember. And it's so delightfully scary and minor and creepy, and we just love it because we think the best way to save a soul is to scare it to death, So, right. So we like this song, and our spirituality and our roots really kind of helped preserve us and keep us grounded when everything else felt like it was about to just fly away. And so we put this song on our new record, and we're gonna sing it now because why not?
That's right.
Yeah, a little church on a Friday afternoon. Ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Flee as a bird to your mountain, thou who art weary of sin. Go to the clear flowing fountain, where you may wash and be clean. Fly, for the avenger is near thee. Call, and the Savior will hear thee. He on his bosom will bear thee. Thou who art weary of sin, oh, thou who art weary of sin, he will protect thee forever, wipe every falling tear. He will forsake thee or never, sheltered so tenderly there. Haste now, the hours are flying. Spend not your moments in sighing. Cease from your sorrow and crying. The Savior will wipe every tear. The Savior will wipe every tear.
That was absolutely lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having us.
We always try to keep in mind that bands do things like drive 6 hours, and then they got a show tonight. And they got all, and so to work it so that you can come in and spend this time with us is such a gift.
Oh, well,
Like,
we're glad
we're
we got
happy to do it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Harry
Good
Potter
interview.
made it go a lot faster, that long drive up north.
there were some spells involved
Yes.
along the way. If those people at the church without instruments knew that you were
I
involved in
know.
witchcraft,
I
it would
know
be
it,
such a
right? Don't
bad
tell
thing. Yeah. I do have to say, it's like my mom grew up in a church without where they didn't allow instruments,
Yeah.
and somebody would stand up and blow a pitch pipe.
Yep, same for us.
But at that church, it was the most god-awful caterwauling you've ever heard. Those people could not hold a tune for their lives, And what is it about one church where it's like, yes, and then another church like,
I don't
boy, can we
know.
just slip out the back?
I will say the church that we grew up in is like 95% our relatives, and we pride ourselves on like our like a cappella gospel singing. It's like what
It
we're
was like the singing church in the
right.
area.
Everybody was like, "Oh, that church sings good," and so everybody's like really proud about that. So if you can be prideful about such a thing, it's probably a sin. But
Sinful.
yeah, but
my
we
mom's
were
church,
proud
they
of
just
that.
came in from the fields, and when the service was done, they went back out
You
into
know
the
what?
fields.
They were feeling it, and that's what matters.
Yeah. Well, the Secret Sisters, again, tonight at Knucklehead's new album, You Don't Own Me Anymore. Such a gift. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Anytime. Thanks, y'all.
Secret Sisters live on the bridge.